Guys, what do both of you want to review these today?
Oh, I don't know.
How about...
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the horror show. I'm Cecil, Laird.
I'm so fucking excited. I'm Susie Ponslaughter.
I'm Jaime. Fuego.
And we are here to review the entire first season of The Umbrella Academy. Originally created by Gerard Way, believe it or not, of...
My man, My Chemical Romance.
He carried on. Doing comic
Had to
books.
squeeze it in somehow.
Yes.
Had to squeeze it in somehow. So, guys, this is based on a comic book series, 2 of them actually, and a third is currently 5 of 6 issues released.
Yeah.
I didn't know they were that far in.
Oh yeah,
Dang,
yep,
I
absolutely.
Can't wait to read it.
And
now.
then Gerard Way actually wants to do a 4th series as well.
Yeah, he does.
Now, Fuego and I are going to be reviewing the first series, and Susie, if she can get it read today while we're doing the news, we're going to review the first series later on. But here we are going to review the Netflix adaptation, which is, as Fuego knows, markedly different from the comic book series.
in certain aspects.
And it needed to be, though.
Yeah.
It needed to be. It couldn't be the exact same
For a
thing.
10-episode series.
For what he told, what he told me, some of the shit that was in the comic, no, you cannot put that on TV.
Oh, yeah, specifically, there was a thing with Pogo that happened a little differently that was pretty aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No.
yeah. Anyway, we're going to be talking all about this 10-episode series. We're not going to be spoiling it, but we will be, discussing the overall plot, the characters, and the effects, all of that good stuff in turn as usual. Now, just so you guys are on the same page, we just recently went to Mad Monsters Charlotte,
Yeah, we
and
did.
Susie and I actually used this show. We started episode 1 on our first flight, and we almost finished episode 10 on
Literally,
by the end of our
30
last
minutes
flight.
left, and I could not wait to get home to finish it.
So we literally watched the entire series on planes.
So he didn't have to listen to me.
So pretty much worked out very well for all ends because she was happy. So
I was reading Stephen King.
yeah, so Fuego was reading The King, and so Fuego crammed it in over the last couple of days. So we are all on the same page. We have completed the series, and Fuego and I have read the first comic book series for comparison purposes.
When was the last time you read the comic series? Do you
Oh, I
remember
just
reading
reread them.
Oh,
I reread
okay.
them before I watched the series. I reread both series and the free comic book day issue that started it all. If you want to grab those real quick, Fuego, we'll show them. So these are the original comics that this series was based on, and believe it or not, the very first issue was a free comic book day issue, and the rest were in 2009. This was Free Comic Book Day 2009 as well. So this is what the first series was based on. The series was called The Apocalypse Suite, and it had to do with the actual piece of music that gets performed at the end of it. And but it was changed to the final episode was called The White Violin, which is a reference to the Apocalypse Suite, part of the comics and stuff. So this story is, I mean, it starts off very fantastical, just so you know. One day, 43 women across the world suddenly wake up pregnant and have a child by the end of the day.
No, they did not wake up pregnant.
No?
No, they did not.
They
wake
just
up
got pregnant
during
like,
the day.
during
Yes,
the day,
they did
you're
not
right.
wake up at the beginning of the day. They were not pregnant,
they
and then
weren't
magically, boom,
Yeah,
like
they got
everything, baby.
Bam.
Yeah,
One day.
and gave birth all in the same couple-hour period. And so this man by the name of Hargreaves decides to collect as many of them as he can, and so he gathers 7 of these children up and forms the Umbrella Academy.
Out of those 40
out of the 43 kids,
43.
he finds 7 of them, and it turns out that each of the kids except for one has a power of some kind. And right. So, and basically this series, this 10-episode series, it starts off with this group of characters who were together as kids in this sort of superhero group led by Hargreaves, who was the sort of Professor X of it all. It is a very X-Men, yeah, the monocle. It's a very X-Men kind of situation. But something happens, and then they all go their separate ways for about 12 years.
Well, they grow up.
Now this, and they all grow up, and this
grow apart.
and this series begins with them all being called back because their mentor has died. So a funeral has gathered them all back together as adults. And once they all gather back together, stuff starts to unfold, and they have to interact, and their stories start to re-intertwine, and they sort of use the missing years as backstory to tell about the characters as we get interactions as the series goes. And it's just a really very well put together series, story-wise. I mean, that's the long and short of the story. So, did I skip our overall thoughts, or did I hit our overall thoughts? I mean, kind of skipped over it. So that's the long and short of the story. So we'll just go back and hit our overall thoughts. I loved how they did it. It was obviously a good deal different from the comics, but it had to be. And I really, really enjoyed what they presented to us.
Present them.
Susie, having never read the comics, your overall thoughts.
Fucking God. Like, I've never been so invested. Like, swear to God, the whole time on the plane, I'm like, what the fuck?
It was really fun watching her reaction.
I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Because there was like season-long mysteries, a false eyeball, you know, that came into play.
I was like, what's going on, man?
I was like, wait till you find out whose eye it belongs to.
Yeah,
You know?
I was like, bro.
And then it ended up being different, you know, from the comic.
Oh, so you thought you knew what it was going to be pertaining to.
Oh yeah.
Hands down.
Oh yeah.
So I have Cecil's perspective, but in reverse order, because he read the comic and then watched the series. I just watched the series and then read the comic because I didn't want to mess with expectation or whatever. I will say, without spoiling anything about the comic book is much more of a superhero story, and I feel like this is much more of a drama and almost like an anti-superhero story in some ways.
That's what I love about it, because I was telling Cecil this. I said, I love that they're just, you know, they have abilities, but they're still normal people. Fucking Klaus is my man.
Yeah, he's my favorite.
Fucking love
He's my
Klaus.
favorite.
Like, well, like it's I cannot rant and rave enough. I've never been so, like, just a show. Not even just like, it's not even a movie. Like, it's a show. I'm so invested in it. Like, I cannot fucking, well, I mean, Gerard Way.
And he described this as like a 10-hour movie that expanded on his material.
It's amazing. Everything about it. The acting, the cinematography, the music.
The music is played so huge.
Music plays a big part.
God,
As it should.
I cannot, like, I will get the fucking tattoo, man. That's like how I'm in this. Like,
well, the funny thing about it is, even though I hadn't watched the series yet, I actually listened to the Umbrella Academy score while reading the comics. So it was really cool. I got to hear a lot of the violin and stuff while I was watching the violins or reading the violin stuff happen on the page. It was really dope, actually.
Yeah, no,
This is
and
what the Apocalypse Suite sounds like.
Oh, dude, it's so cool.
it was so, no, I loved it.
And
even
how
more.
cool was the white violin stuff? Because we
I was
didn't
just
watch
gonna
that
say,
together. Yeah.
Being someone who plays violin, viola, all that stuff,
Oh,
I was
really?
like,
Okay, I
yeah,
forgot
I
about
was
that.
like, yes, this is amazing. That is my superhero.
I
And
love how her clothes like transformed, became
dude,
a white violin.
I'm
It's so
telling
dope.
you,
She
oh
looks
my
really
God.
cool.
I fucking love Ellen
Those
Page.
effects are good.
Girl, call me.
Whoa.
Fucking, yeah,
Chacha.
absolutely.
She likes
But
girls.
like,
She-
but the thing was, I was so stoked about it. And when we were watching it, I was asking, because Cecil was saying, like, oh, you know, it's not quite true to the comic book. And at the end of it, I was like, what is different? Like, I was so, like, what could possibly be different about it? Like, I was so interested. And then he told me about something. I'm like, well, that's obvious why they couldn't put that in there. That's extremely graphic. Not for me, but for, like, that I just don't see that going over so well. But when he showed me a picture of the white violin
and the way that they did her.
and
yeah.
like
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm getting that tattooed.
That's a dope tattoo too. It would be.
Here,
It was her
Doing it.
character that I thought some of the best expansion happened. Like hers and Klaus were
The way she
fantastic, because
developed,
she-
amazing.
They don't really give her that much in the comics. They give her a little
Vanya.
bit. Yeah, Vanya, exactly. Number
They
seven.
rushed it.
7. They
Like
did.
it felt much realer in
Yeah.
the show, her transition, than it did in the comic.
Yes,
it was
very much so. They
very
gave it time
rushed
to
over the
breathe,
6 issues.
and they made you more sympathetic to her character.
I think it was a brilliant. Honestly, it's a
was a
brilliant
brilliant
expansion
change.
of a 6-issue series. That it's a brilliant comic
so
series,
good.
but
Yeah.
it's really expanded in all of the right ways.
I agree.
There's one difference: a character that's very rude to their surrogate mom in the comic is like, kind of like her like obsessed with her as a mom in the series. So that was a little bit of a different thing. But nonetheless, seeing how everything played out, it was so engaging, and all of the characters were interesting, and how they're interplayed. Like the reveal of what Space Boy is actually under his coat was really cool, and the fact that you don't even hear that he's called Space Boy until like episode 8 or 9.
They weren't using any of their weird names, like the rumor and all that stuff.
No, well, they did mention the horror. I think. Oh. And by the way, did I call that or what? Did I call that shit or what? Exactly what happened. I said, oh, this isn't what they did in the comic, but it looks like they're building up to have this happen. And then boom, that shit happened. I was like, yes!
It was so great. But also, not even just the adult, the children, for even a short time, the scene where they're with the bank heist, the kids. And that's what you get more of in the comic They were so good. I loved the kids, especially the rumor girl.
Rumor is the coolest character in the whole
But I'm just saying, like, the little girl, like, the actress.
Just her power. When I first read that in the comic, I was like, that must be why I love this series so much, because that is the coolest, most creative power I've ever seen put to either comic book page or screen.
Which is great. Okay, so honestly, I wouldn't know anything about superheroes if it wasn't for my oldest son. Obviously, he's a boy, and he loves fucking superheroes. So I'm not into it, whatever. But, like, this, because, like I said, they are still human. They have human desires, human needs, and everything. Just because they have these abilities does not make them immune.
Human anger, for sure.
Does not make them immune to everyday life.
And they were developed in a very, like, human fashion. They could have easily become caricatures, and they did not. They were all very well-rounded and very complex and very interesting. And you sympathize differently with all of them because they all have different... I mean, despite being powered people, they all have their flaws as well.
Absolutely.
So we all are in agreement that the acting of the Umbrella Academy are amazing.
Flawless.
All of them, including Monocle. Monocle played his part great.
Don't even care.
Now, here's where we might not necessarily agree on things. And this is something that was different in the comics. I actually... I both preferred the comic version and preferred something they did in this version with Hazel and Chacha. Hazel and Chacha are very hardcore killers, like no emotion, nothing. So the whole thing with like Hazel's side story becomes a whole B plot in this story, and that is completely new. And I don't know that it worked for me, but I did, honestly, by the end, when I saw that they disappeared in a blue light rather than being scorched, I was like, oh, good. Like, honestly, I was I was happy about that, right?
I will say, and I told you this, that is the one thing I did have a problem with.
Okay.
And it was Dude.
Hazel?
Yeah, I could. His acting, like, I couldn't.
I got behind it.
He had a strange approach.
It was weird.
He gave me this vibe that was maybe one of the. I was thinking this was kind of like Wes Anderson directing X-Men First Class in some ways, with its weird quirkiness, and it also had some Peregrine vibes to it as well. But it also had a similar quirkiness that a show called Pushing Daisies that I was a real big fan of, especially with its bright lighting and everything in certain scenes, and some of the weird, like the fantasy dance sequence. There was a lot of just. I can't wait till we start talking about the music, because the music was fantastic in this. But yeah, visually especially, I just felt that very dark, almost like quirky slickness to the proceedings a lot, which I felt was captured very well from the books, So.
But Hazel and Chacha, you didn't mind the changes that they made from the comics? Well, they're obviously in the second series
because they're not in the first series. Or if they were, I did not pick up on
Oh, really? They're not in the first series? Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's really...
Damn, okay.
There's a couple there's the time people that come after him, and him and Pogo or Popo or whatever,
Yeah, Pogo.
Yeah, how the two of them came together.
So Hazel and Chacha are from the second series. That's the big part they pulled then.
Hazel, I don't know what it was.
Couldn't get into it, huh?
Did you like Mary J. Blige then?
I loved her. Oh my god.
She was
the more hard-nosed, yeah.
I didn't even realize that was Mary J. Blige. Holy crap! Wow.
She's way more hard.
She's acting.
Yeah. What?
She's acting. It's not like she sang.
Amazing.
Yeah, she was in Mud. I want to say, and got a bunch of nominations for that with Reese Witherspoon.
So yeah, that my one and only
Gripe.
Gripe. I don't know, dude. I don't know. Maybe it was your dialogue. I don't fucking know. I don't know. But I couldn't get into it. I couldn't. It seemed like, oh no, the original Hazel couldn't make it. We need a new one. Guy on set.
Oh,
Just
come on.
like, I couldn't get into it. Like, I was not buying the dialogue, anything. I couldn't.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. You liked everything else, so
Everything
that's
else
a small
is fucking
that's a
spot
small
on.
only-
And that's the
only
no. I still
blemish.
100% fucking watch it. That's just my opinion about Hazel. That's just me. But I just couldn't. The acting, I just couldn't. I couldn't.
So how did we like the effects and everything? I thought it all came together
great.
very well. It got CG heavy towards the end, of course, as it needed to be
Yeah,
for the
mind
big
you, we were watching
apocalyptic
this
finale.
on Cecil's phone
Yeah,
the whole
true.
time, and I'm like this. Sorry, like this
Mhm,
the whole time. But it was so good. Even being on the phone, so fucking good, so amazing. I want to rewatch it for real. Like.
On an actual TV.
Which is what I did, and it looked really great in those scenes. I
like,
was
which
just
is
gonna
what
say.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, I mean, I don't know. We've gushed an awful lot, so let's talk about the music, and then we'll close it out, because the music played a huge part. I mean, and the funny thing is, they credited, or no, we watched it with subtitles. So it like credited every song that was playing. I was like,
well, you
okay.
watched it with subtitles. I was watching. Nah, I can't do subtitles. I was okay.
The subtitles were playing the whole time we were watching.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying you were
Just
paying
phasing
attention
them out,
to.
okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. But yeah, no, there was a ton of music, like almost 2 songs per episode heavily featured in montages and
But
whatnot.
they were put in so fucking perfect. Oh my god.
And you liked a particular classical piece.
Yes!
I'm wondering which
Oh, no. I guarantee you, it's legit a classical piece. That it is I don't say anything's my absolute favorite. I don't. This piece is my absolute favorite classical piece of all fucking time.
It's like episode
And
6
to
or
see
7 or
when
something.
Klaus is in the fucking bathtub, and as soon as I just heard the French horn, just I fucking grabbed him so quick.
Yeah,
I was
she's
like,
I love this piece.
I was like, no fucking way,
Yeah.
and I died. I fucking love that piece. It is all time. Oh my god. So Gerard, I fucking love you.
I don't know how much he had to do with the actual series.
Hey, look,
Well,
he created the Umbrella
that's
Academy.
true.
Without him, it wouldn't have been there.
Well, it was conceived and developed by Jeremy Slater, the guy who did The Exorcist.
Okay.
The Exorcist TV series.
That's a great series, too.
And then he had to step away from the project last minute, and they brought in a different showrunner who basically worked on his notes and scripted it and everything. And I guess from what I was reading in an interview with Gerard, while he was scripting, he basically made notes in the script of this song here during this scene. And then they went and they would go get clearance for those songs. And so that's why there was
so
such
the fact
a...
that he even knew that,
Yeah, that's why there was such a hefty amount. And then they consulted Gerard a little bit for the original music, but he actually expressed in an interview he was disappointed that he didn't get as much input about what songs they used in what parts of the show. He was wanting them to have gone more obscure because they went for a lot of like big, popular commercial songs. I mean, I was actually trying to remember if they had the Tiffany song in one of the trailers, and I think they did in the first
Yeah, I
episode
think
where
they
they're
did,
all
yeah.
dancing in the house
Yeah.
and shot and everything. And
That was a good song pick, though.
It
I
did,
like
yeah.
that.
Ellen Page.
well, because it got them all grooving.
Yeah, that's
and
right,
singing.
yeah.
Her
You
weird,
did.
her
You
weird
were loving
little,
that.
Her weird
I
little
was
dance.
her fucking.
She's like, I fucking love her.
I
Like,
do. I love her
Great.
dance. Like,
Yeah,
I-
but it got all of it kind of broke the ice, remember? Because
I wanna watch it
Luther,
again.
that's number one's name, right? Luther.
Yeah.
Yeah, where he
Space
was,
Boy.
Yeah,
Space
Space Boy. Yeah, it kind of broke the ice, and I love the use of Queen in the second album or the second episode.
Bro,
where,
I was
where he
bopping.
was
There's
getting
good-
attacked by
the whole
by the
time.
time cops or whatever.
Well, and there's
the hell
good
you
use
wanna
of
call 'em.
time travel in this. Like, we get real cathartic, good scenes that are then just flat undone, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
One
What?
scene in particular.
Yeah, exactly. But it's good storytelling. It's really good storytelling.
It's so fucking good. I'm so excited.
And
Well,
I
and
love
it's
the-
very cliffhanger to
Yeah.
season 2.
I've never been so pissed.
Which the original
Oh,
comic-
really? Well,
I was
okay.
like, no! And I was like,
Yeah.
tell me what happens. He's like, nope. Like,
Well,
tell
that's
me
the
what
thing,
happens.
they-
Well, we didn't even tell you how it happened differently in the comics.
It
so-
actually
Yeah.
wraps
Good.
things up pretty well in the comic.
Yeah, it's
compared to the
compared to the series for sure.
Yeah.
We'll tell you off
God,
camera.
I've never seriously.
There's a
I've
lot of
never been so
similarities.
pissed about a cliffhanger for a fucking show.
Apparently, there's a lot of people upset, and they were like,
Only
"They
because
answer all the questions."
Oh, but that just means they're for sure bringing it back. For sure bringing it back.
I'm not even worried about it. I know another one's
I'm
gonna
excited
happen.
to read Hotel Oblivion, because that's the third. I have the first 5 of the 6 issues, because that's all that's come out yet. I haven't read it yet. I've been waiting until the 6th comes out so I can read it all in one clip. But if they just made the majority of 1 and part of 2 into this first season, that means that they can probably make a majority of 3 and part of 2 the second season, and then just close it out. So we're gonna get probably at least 3 seasons of this.
Should be very cool.
How awesome is that?
I'm so fucking
It's so good.
excited.
All right.
Oh my
Well, we're gonna go ahead and call our review there, you guys. Sorry to have gushed on it for so long, but frankly,
I am not
it's
sorry.
it's very, very deserving
Not
of it. So,
sorry.
Yeah.
if you have watched it, let us know in the comments down below. Did you enjoy it as much as we did? Did you not like certain things
will fight
better or worse than we did? Let us know in those comments down below.
Some were critical about pacing of this. They said they felt it could have been 8 episodes instead of 10. That's really one of the only gripes I've seen people. That kind of drags a little bit.
So I'm likely going to review or release this on the same day we release the first volume of the comics. So if that has gone up yet, great. I'll link to it at the end of this. If not, it'll be going up later today. So make sure you stick around for our review of the comics, the first series of the comics, and hopefully we'll be back for season 2, you guys.
We will.
Well, if they release a trailer, we'll be doing a reaction for it. That's for sure.
Renewed, so,
Susie will be there.
I'll fucking be there.
So thank you guys very much for watching. Until next time, I've been Cecil Laird.
I'm Cece Von Slaughter.
Gracias. I'm Jaime and Fuego.
And remember, stay scared.
You know, you're really pushing your luck.
Try. Guys, I gotta say, what are we gonna review these today?
Caught us both off guard.